Apple just told you to brace for a massive price hike on the iPhone 18 Pro. Tim Cook said it himself on record to the Wall Street Journal. Price increases are unavoidable. Those were his actual words. But here's what almost nobody is covering. A JP Morgan analyst just dropped a report today that says the hike might be way smaller than Cook made it sound. And if that analyst is right, Apple just played the most calculated PR move in consumer tech history. There's one number in that report that changes everything about how you should think about buying this phone. We'll get to it. But first, let me show you exactly what we're dealing with. So here's the full picture. The iPhone 18 Pro Max is landing in September 2026. Apple's fall lineup will include the 6.3-inch iPhone 18 Pro and the 6.9-inch iPhone 18 Pro Max. That part is locked in. What is not locked in is the price. And right now there are two completely different stories being told. One from Apple's own CEO and one from the analysts who actually do the math. I've gone through both, and honestly, the gap between them is where the real story lives. Let's start with what triggered this whole conversation. Last week, Apple CEO Tim Cook made the unusual move of telling the Wall Street Journal that price increases are coming. He said, and I'm quoting directly, "Price increases are unavoidable." That's a CEO voluntarily warning consumers before the product even launches, which is not normal. So why is this happening? Two words: memory chips. The RAM alone on the base model iPhone 18 Pro, expected to have 256 gigabytes of storage, could cost Apple $145. The storage, which previously cost Apple $13, could now cost around $51. Let that sink in. Storage costs went up almost 4 times. Producing the base model of the iPhone 17 Pro reportedly cost Apple around $582, but the iPhone 18 Pro is estimated to cost $726. That's $144 more just in manufacturing before Apple adds a single dollar of profit margin. And then there's the camera. The new camera system will also cost Apple about 50% more than previous models, according to supply chain analyst Ming-Chi Kuo. So you've got a chip cost spike, a storage cost spike, and a camera cost spike, all hitting at the same time. That's why the Wall Street Journal did their own math. Through internal analysis and pricing insights from research firm Tech Insights, the journal estimates the iPhone 18 Pro is likely to start at a minimum price of $1299, but $1399 or higher is more likely. And if the iPhone 18 Pro starts at $1299 to $1399, so we can expect the iPhone 18 Pro Max to start $100 higher. So you're looking at a Pro Max that could open at $1399, maybe $1499. That's the scary version. Now here's where it gets interesting. Today, and I mean literally today, a new report dropped, and it is telling a very different story. JP Morgan estimates increases of closer to $50 to $100, if true, would be much better news than many are expecting. $50 to $100, not $300. So how do you go from brace yourself to actually it might be fine? Cook's warning could actually be a strategic way of setting expectations so that Apple can underpromise and overdeliver. In other words, Apple might make small price increases seem like good news because it has cautioned consumers to brace for worse. And here's the thing, Apple has done this exact playbook before. You tell people it's going to be bad, then you come in slightly less bad, and suddenly everyone's relieved. That's not journalism, that's perception management. Now, I'm not saying Apple is lying. I'm saying Tim Cook is very, very good at his job, and we're doing our best to shield our customers. Sounds a lot better when the shield only costs you $50 more than last year. So which number is right? Honestly, nobody knows yet. What we do know is that the range is somewhere between not that bad and genuinely painful, and where it lands depends on one decision Apple is making right now. We'll get to that. Okay, so Let's assume the price goes up. The real question is, does the upgrade justify it? Here's what's actually changing on the iPhone 18 Pro Max. The chip first. Apple's new A20 chip is expected to deliver 15% faster performance and 30% better power efficiency. 30% better power efficiency, that is not a spec sheet number. That is 2-day battery life territory. The Pro Max is rumored to feature a battery exceeding 5,000 milliamp hours, possibly reaching up to 5,200 milliamp hours in some configurations. Combined with the efficiency gains from the A20 Pro chip and LTPO Plus display technology, this could translate into the strongest battery life ever seen on an iPhone. If that's true, that alone changes the daily experience of using this phone. Now, the camera, this is the big one. The rumored variable aperture on the main camera is a huge deal. It physically changes how light enters the lens, giving you true DSLR-like background blur instead of relying on fake software effects. That's not computational photography pretending to be real. That's an actual physical mechanism. In your pocket, your phone camera has never done that before. The modem, the C2 modem, is expected to improve 5G reception, Wi-Fi speed, and satellite connectivity while pulling less power. For anyone who spends time in areas with patchy signal, rural areas, highway stretches, concrete buildings, better modem performance isn't just a spec sheet item. It's fewer dropped calls, faster map loads, and a battery that lasts longer because it's not hunting for signal. That last point, battery lasting longer because it's not hunting for signal, that one nobody talks about. And it's legitimately meaningful. The design, Apple will carry over the titanium frame and triple lens camera layout from the iPhone 17 Pro. This is not a redesign year, it's an internals year. And honestly, that's fine. The iPhone 17 Pro design was good. You don't need to fix what isn't broken. The dynamic island is expected to be nearly 50% smaller, and the body should be more durable and won't fade or discolor over time. And for people who remember their cosmic orange iPhone 17 Pro slowly turning into something less orange, that durability fix matters more than it should. Software, iOS 27 brings the new long-awaited context-aware Siri, now called Siri AI. Apple announced it during WWDC 2026. The digital assistant is getting an upgrade with Apple Intelligence and Gemini, and will finally gain the promised context awareness and the ability to operate within apps. The key word there is finally, because Siri has been promising context awareness for 2 years. And if this is the version that actually delivers, but then the software alone changes the value equation. One color note before we move on: dark cherry leans more towards the deep burgundy than bright red, a more refined option that works for both professional and personal use without being loud. And it's replacing Cosmic Orange, which, good, Cosmic Orange had its moment. Dark Cherry is that moment's more sophisticated older sibling. Here's where I give you the honest take, not the hype, and then not the it's amazing, buy it take, the actual one. If you're on an iPhone 13 or older, this is your upgrade, no question. The performance gap alone is worth it. The upgrade makes even more sense if you have an iPhone 15 or older. If you're on an iPhone 16 Pro or 17 Pro Max, the upgrade will be less impactful for you. The variable aperture camera is real, the battery gains are real, but if you're already in the current generation, you're chasing incremental, not transformation. And here's the part nobody wants to say out loud. The standard iPhone 18 and the rumored iPhone 18 Air are expected to keep much friendlier price tags. You could also wait for the inevitable price drops on the iPhone 17 Pro, which should become an incredible value the second the new models hit the shelves. If you're not a Pro buyer, there's zero urgency here. If you typically buy the standard model, you're waiting until spring 2027, which is fine, genuinely. The best iPhone for most people might be the iPhone 17 Pro at a discount in October. And that's an opinion you won't hear from anyone trying to sell you something. Okay, here's where I land. The iPhone 18 Pro Max is a genuinely strong upgrade this year. The A20 chip, the variable aperture camera, the C2 modem, the battery, if those pan out, in all signs say they will, this is a meaningful step forward. The price is the wild card. If JP Morgan's $50 to $100 range is right, this is an easy buy for anyone due an upgrade. If the Wall Street Journal's $13.99 or higher scenario plays out, the math gets harder for the Pro Max specifically. But here's what I think is actually happening. Cook's warning could be a strategic way of setting expectations so Apple can underpromise and overdeliver. Apple rarely punishes the people who want to give it money, and a $300 price hike would punish a lot of people. My read, the final number lands somewhere around $12.99 for the Pro, $13.99 for the Pro Max, which is more than last year, but not the catastrophe everyone was bracing for. We'll find out in September. And when that event happens, I'll be back here with the full breakdown the same day. But I'm curious, what's your number? What price would make you tap out and just keep what you have? Drop it in the comments, because that answer is different for everyone. And I genuinely want to see where people land. See you in September.